So joining me today, I am so excited, Alka Joshi. We are talking about your debut novel, The Henna Artist, that I'm actually currently smack in the middle of, which I did that on purpose. I stopped because that's my favorite place to be in a book. That's why this is called The Middle. This story is beautiful, but it's also a sensory experience. The way you write, the color, the detail, it's all so vivid. So give me a brief synopsis without giving anything away.
Okay. When we meet up with Lakshmi, our main character, she is 30 years old. She is working in the city of Jaipur as a very celebrated henna artist, somebody who is helping women realize their dreams and desires, which is not something a regular henna artist would be able to do. And lo and behold, she is so close. She's at the cusp of finding her own independence financially and emotionally. And what happens is that at this apex, the husband that she deserted 13 years ago shows up at her door. And she has been hoping, of course, that he would never show up in her life again. But he also brings with him something else she didn't know about, a sister who was born to her mother. And Lakshmi is now in charge of having to raise this sister and dealing with this estranged husband. So we are also in the era of 1955 India, where India is finally gaining its footing as an independent nation. So this is a time of independence and great exuberance and excitement for the Indian people. And it's at this very moment that Lakshmi is also finding her independence and her footing in her world.
I love it. I love Lakshmi. I love Radha. I love their story. I love their relationship. And normally when I'm reading, I don't see people's faces. I know that sounds strange, but I could vividly see them. This book, you said you took 10 years to complete it, right? Why did you wait this long to share your gift with the world? This is so good.
Oh, I would love to have had it published after the first year, because it didn't take me that long to write the story. But what took me all of that time, and I'm so glad that it did, is the idea of developing characters so that they felt real. Developing characters that really felt like, okay, I can sympathize with this woman, or I can empathize with this character. It took that long to rewrite scenes so that they became the most compelling they could be. I have an agent who would not let this book out into the world until she felt that it could be the best debut novel and it could have a life beyond just any other debut novel. And I'm so thankful to her. Her name is Emma Sweeney out in New York. And every time I would say to her, okay, Emma, I have done another rewrite. Now, are we ready to get it published? And she would say, not quite. And then finally, after 4 to 5 years of working with her, I said, Emma, are we now ready to get it published? And she said, no, I have taken this book as far as I can take it, but now you need to hire a book editor. I said, book editor? I thought that's what you had been doing this whole time.
Right.
And she said, no, Alka, I am only a literary agent. I am not a book editor, but you hire somebody who is a book editor. I didn't even know this existed. And they are developmentally going to help you with the novel. They're going to help you go deeper into the characters or tell you where you need to do that.
So are you so happy with it? Do you love the final? Yeah, good.
I love the final product. And I think, so even after that book editor, then Emma sold it to Mira Books, which is a division of HarperCollins. And then I got a new editor at HarperCollins who said, okay, now we need to fix a couple more things, or I want you to consider a couple more things that will really make this book better. And I thought, oh my God, I cannot believe this. When is this book finally going to come out? But even her changes were phenomenal. The changes that she made were so right on, and they helped make the book so much better, and everybody reacts to those changes in a really positive way. So, that 10-year journey, it was totally worth it.
Worth it. Absolutely. And then Reese Witherspoon puts her stamp of approval on the book.
Yes.
So talk to me about what happens when she does that, when she adds your book to her book club. Did everything just blow up in a good way?
Yeah. So the book was released on March the 3rd, 2020. the pandemic starts raising its ugly head.
Right.
And so one by one, every single one of my book events is canceled. My book launch is canceled. Everything is canceled. And I just thought, oh my God, it took me 10 years to get to this point. And now I don't get to talk to any readers. The book is not even available because the bookstores are closing down. The libraries are closing down. Amazon can't ship right now as quickly as they need to because they are focused on the emergency supplies that people need, right? So I just thought, how could this happen? What karma am I carrying around from a past life that is making this happen? It was like, oh my God. And I just put my head down under my pillow and I just put the covers over my head. And I just thought, oh my God. But, then on March 11th, my editor called and she said, Reese Witherspoon is going to announce your book on May 1st. And I was like, oh my God. Oh my God. I don't believe it. I was like in shock. But it happened. And so what happens is that you have 6 weeks to sort of plan and work with her team so that you can develop all of the social media content that they need. So then I started getting busy doing videos about cooking. I did videos about saris and how you put on saris. I wrote things about the jewelry that my mother got at her wedding. I wrote all of these different pieces, of information that they could use for the social media. I had my older brother devise a Maharani cocktail for us.
So cool. No, and I love that because this book is so visual. So I'm so happy that, because I found you via Reese's Book Club, like so many other people always look to. So it is so visual. And with that, also, I feel like a lot of books in her book club go to the screen. So are you in talks yet for adaptations?
Yes, Miramax TV bought the option to turn the Henna Artist into an episodic TV series, which I'm really excited about because that is how I always saw it. Ashley, I'm an artist. And so everything that I write in the book, I actually see it visually in my head first. And I think that's kind of what you're responding to, the sensory and the visual feel when you're reading the book. It's what I experience before I even start writing any words down on my laptop. So, it was so easy for me to develop all that content for Reese Witherspoon's people because the book is filled with food and, things like the saris and the jewelry and, all of those visual elements.
You feel like you travel to India, but also back in time. So you are so successful in creating this world and I've never been to India, and I feel like I learned so much about the culture, and I'm only halfway through the book. It's so cool. Like anyone who hasn't read this yet needs to. It's amazing. I'm so happy you put it out there. Is this the first of many books? How are you?
Yes. Oh my gosh. If you had told me at 50 years old, when I was 50, if you had said you're going to write a book and you're going to write 2 more books and you're going to be involved in a TV series and you might do a graphic novel, I would have said, oh my gosh, you're crazy. But that is exactly what I'm doing. So I'm an executive producer on the TV series. And so we are in the writer's room working on some of that material. I have written another sequel that is going to be published next July. It's called The Secret Keeper of Jaipur.
Okay.
And it is about Malik, who is now 20 years old. Then I have a third book that I'm going to write right after this one, and I've pretty much sketched out the story, and that is a story about Radha as she grows up and lives in France with her French husband and works as a perfumer. And I won't give away any more.
Okay. I was like, no, stop. No, that's amazing. I'm so happy to hear that. And also you're such an inspiration that and proof that you can achieve your dreams. You could do the things you love. It's never too late. So do it because it's worth the wait when it turns out like this. And I also want to thank you because I feel like books always find me at a time when I need them, even though I didn't. And this is just, it makes me happy every time I open my Kindle. So I want to thank you for that.
What's really interesting is that who could have predicted the pandemic would strike, right? And who could have predicted that a book about India that almost feels like you are there that you are tasting the food and you are looking at all of the marigolds being threaded for weddings and the women in their hot pink saris walking around. Who could have predicted that that was a way to mentally escape the lockdown that we are all in? And so many people around the world, and the book is being translated into 18 languages so far. So many women around the world, so many readers have said to me, this makes me want to go to India. This has helped me travel to India at a time when I can't go anywhere. So, you know, in a strange sort of way, the pandemic has worked in the book's favor.
Yeah, it all happened. Like, obviously, we don't want the pandemic, but this is a good to come out of it. And that's what we're always looking for. So thank you. If people want to follow you, what is your social handle? Instagram is the best?
Instagram is the best, and it is at the Alka Joshi, my name. And of course, you can always find me if you want to write to me, alka@alkajoshi.com. And of course, you can find me on my website, thehennaartist.com. Thank you, Ashley.